Hey,
Hello, everybody.
how's it going? Welcome to the Way Podcast, a journey through an unconventional life. My name is Chris Pentecost.
And I'm Michael Lavalley, and today we will discuss about a subject who is kind of someplace.
We're talking about gold! Gold! We're talking about currency specifically.
Yes.
Uh,
So a
the-
subject that I think is not very taught that much, among people, because it's
Yeah, a lot of people don't like talking about money.
yeah,
Remember that thing I said on one of our other podcasts, the 3 ways to lose friendships?
yeah,
This is another one, but we're going to keep on rolling with it because I think currency is an incredibly important subject to
yes,
keep on everybody.
to the world, because wanted or not, we rely on currency, and what's happening in the world now, it's huge. I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's not even the fact of gold or paper money anymore. Now it's like everything's online and just numbers. It's fake money.
Yes.
But
so
still buys
if you
the
didn't
book.
know, you work for fake money, because the money is not rely on anything else than the trust of the people in the money.
Yes, we
So-
put the value into it.
Yes.
No one else does. Just because we are told, hey, $1 is worth $1, it doesn't mean the same thing overseas.
Yes, because there's some places that they get super inflation and everything like that. And I was reading about that that right now, you probably know that the U.S. dollar is the global currency.
As far as business goes.
Yes, I mean it's the reserve. It's the dollar that is used through around the world to make transaction, and to it was strong for 100 years and something.
And that's mainly because of the corporations we built up as a country over time. I think the one thing that America is known for is its capitalism and consumerism. We have made basically every global company that's here. Well, not every. It's I want to say 70% of all global companies.
Yeah, it's a lot of opportunity.
It really is.
But it's just that. Yeah, it's a lot of opportunity, but I feel like that comes with a downside, because throughout history, if we look at the past, what happened in the history is that every 100 years, something like that, the world currency changed.
Yeah.
The reserve, and
that's usually due to some type of depression.
yes, and right now, for those who don't know, there's the BRIC, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, who are creating an alliance, and they want to de-dollarize the.
De-dollarize the dollar?
Yes.
I
So
mean-
they want to create a new currency to use as the dollar.
I'm a little worried about that, because ultimately that is going to bring the U.S. dollar down in value.
Yes.
Because normally it was one of the highest valued forms of currency because it was transferred world over.
Mm-hmm.
Now if this new alliance pops up, we're going to be in a bit of spot of trouble with that, because at that point we'll just be relying on entertainment income, which is another one of our main exports is entertainment, which is hard to think about. How do you export entertainment without shipping people over? That's just modern day and the internet is all.
Yeah.
But
But like you said, that might be a problem in the future, because
might be. It's gonna be.
yes, because if they stop using the currency throughout the world, the dollar will all come back to the U.S., and then it will worth nothing, because all the world will think that it's garbage.
It'll be the same thing that happened in Russia with the rubles. Right during the Cold War, because of the reparations they had to pay, the value of the ruble went straight through the floor. I think it cost 1 million rubles in order to get a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Back at that time, and that was.
Yeah, and it's not the only country. I believe Germany has that problem too. Greece, a country in the Asian side.
Yeah, the Chinese
Asia,
yen.
yeah.
The Chinese yen is still way undervalued comparative to the dollar. I think it takes 70 yen to make $1 in U.S. currency, but that differential is going to change a lot if
Yes.
this. You said it was called BRICS.
Yes.
BRICS. If this BRICS plan goes through, it's going to be a bit of a harsh future for us here in America. But that doesn't matter as far as
it's not
around the
happening
world.
right now, but it's just like something that
Keep
like
your eye on.
Yeah, keep up because it's happening. Like some countries subscribe to that and like they want to get part of it because they don't want to miss the train, because they try to create like kind of a cryptocurrency or like.
Yeah, I saw that, but at the end of the day, that's because they're trying to control fake money. Still,
Yeah.
we're trying to keep a hold of that international currency, which I'll be honest, isn't going to happen. It's
because the federal government have reserve of gold also and precious metals, so that helped them like in their case, but
it's not going to help everything because the Federal Reserve is still indebted to China at the moment.
That's for sure.
That's why you see all the memes about Trump and China, because he's combating against them for their power that they hold over us. We owe like a good $1 to $2 billion US to China, and that number is going to keep going up if our US dollar value goes down. We're never going to be able to pay it off. And at that point, it's going to turn into something much bigger than it needs to be, all because of the value of a dollar. Now, what the funny thing was is that currency used to be measured by weight in gold. I think specifically Great Britain, they had their pounds was supposed to represent like a pound of grain or something similar, something that's valued to a little chunk of gold, a piece of gold. But that was way back in the day, and it just exploded from there. Ever since colonization, ever since there were empires all over the world. That's how the currency ended up spreading, and how we all became accustomed to the value of its weight in gold, which doesn't really acquaint anymore because
in 1971, I think that's when they stopped like having the dollar equal to the gold. Like I relied on the gold.
Yeah, at that point they just made up the number.
They just said like, okay, let's print that much money and.
It's still a limited amount, which is why.
With the gold or the money?
Huh?
The gold or the money?
The money.
It's still a limited amount.
Yeah.
You can print like whatever they want.
No, but they keep it at limited amounts. I'm not saying it's forced to be at limited amount. I'm saying they forced it upon themselves.
They print like more money like in the last 2-3 years than like ever before or something like that.
Yes, because we're dealing with inflation, and that's an unfortunate problem because those require approvals through Congress. Once that gets approved, it goes through the National Treasury. Once that gets approved, then it goes on to printing more money. Unfortunately, states do that on their own a lot of the time.
And guess who end up with the money? Like,
not us.
Not the poor people. That's the rich get the.
They get a better value because they're trying to retain the amount of wealth that they already hold, which they measure their wealth in this currency, but that doesn't account to the wealth that they actually have in life.
Because if you're smart, like I think you should like diversify your investment in different countries, so like that if something happened in Canada or US or Mexico or Europe, whatever, like you just protected against the downfall of the economy in certain area, and like because if a country go down, another will go up because they will.
That's how economics works.
Yes, so
that's how world economics works. Funny enough, but it's a big problem with currency, especially nowadays, because I think everyone's starting to realize it's just made up numbers. I mean, they've realized it since the 70s, since it was unassociated with the value of gold. That's when they started realizing it. And I don't remember, there's a diamond company that came out. They basically made up their own value.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I don't think it's Kay's Jewelers, but there's a specific diamond company who
if you know the company, just write down in the comment.
Their slogan is "Diamonds are forever," and diamonds are incredibly precious, but they're not rare. They're not rare at all. But they sold them as if they were rare, so they inflated the price as a result. That's something that's really confusing and concerning to me. That's all just based on marketing, but it still has to do with currency because what's the value of a diamond? It's whatever the company says it is.
Depends, so many things.
You could get a diamond studded saw for about $25 at Home Depot. You go, yeah, it's literally diamond encrusted, all inside the steel, and that's the same value of diamonds that you would get on a wedding ring for like
Yes.
$4,000.
Hmm.
It's wild.
Yeah.
If I were a smarter man, I would just take the diamonds off of that saw. Like, here you go, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, so we said earlier that the dollar was like fake, and like it's just because people rely on it. But like, what will happen the day like people stop believing in the dollar? Like, do you think it's something could happen?
I don't believe we'll ever be in a society, not within our lifetime, where we don't have a type of currency. But I don't think we're going to rely on the U.S. dollar within our lifetime. I think it's going to transfer to a different world currency.
But I'm not. I mean, might express myself bad because I didn't mean to say like, oh, we will never use a currency anymore. But like, if like what will happen when people stop believing in the fake money that we have right now, like until like the change to the new currency, like because they will have a new currency, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because we need the thing to trade, but like maybe something we rely more on. Is it gonna be gold and silver again, or like?
I don't think it'll be precious metals. It might be precious metals because that's a lot easier to distribute. But what I would ultimately, this is just me like wanting it to come into existence, is similar to like a trade, bartering system where I have something of value, you have something that I need and or want. How about I give you this something of value for that thing? And in that aspect, it gets real difficult to determine what is of value.
Yes, because everything is not the same value. Like for example, that's what from what you say, that's what I understand. Like maybe I have a chair and you have like a wig, and I want that wig for the chair, and
oh shit, that sounds like a terrible deal to me. Meanwhile, for you, it's like, this is my best chair. How dare you? And then that's where the conflict comes into play. But we do need something centralized in order to make that trade happen. Otherwise, we'll have to rely on international trade credits, which I think they were trying to induct with the cryptocurrency. Was instead of doing dollar value, all these cryptocurrencies, one credit is this much based on how many people have invested in this credit, and the value only goes up the more people invest into it.
But then again, it's the money, the fake money that they invest, you know, so
it's still fake money. That's right.
Like it's creating from nothing and like worth nothing in the end.
It's all created from nothing.
Till the people like you know, it's like the cryptocurrency right now. Like they have like a limit of crypto that you can buy, but you know
they could always
just
make
like to put oil on the gas or gas on the fire.
Gas on the fire.
Because you know now they said they have like a limit, so like it's create a need of the people to buy it because they're like, oh, there's only a limited amount. But what will happen when they reach the limit? Like they're gonna raise the limit.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. They're not just gonna hold
money.
people off. They're straight up just gonna be like, oh shit, we hit the cap. Hey, so surprise for the holidays, we're raising the limit. Go ahead and buy more, please. And it's definitely a headache to think about, but it's something that we need to concentrate on, because what's going to happen in 5 years when I've built up enough money to buy my own house? Now my money doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an unreliable source that we need to rely in. How are we going to rely on it when it's unreliable? Okay, so
that's a good question.
I gave my opinion. I don't think we'll move to precious metals. I think we're going to move on to a different type of bartering system. But we'll have to choose things of value in order to barter. So instead of being like, hey, I have these 3 light bulbs, can I have like a grain of rice? Or not a grain, a pound of rice. It'll be more like, hey, so you need these things, I need these things, but I want that thing and I have too much of this thing. Let me give you an example.
But it's like the supply and demand, like demand and...
Yes, but there are necessities that every person needs.
Yes, but like the necessity of someone might not be like the necessity of somebody else. So like when it came to an agreement, like that's where I think this...
Well, that wouldn't make it a necessity then. I'm talking necessities like food, water, shelter.
Yes.
These are necessities. As far as like bartering, oh my God, could you imagine if they start like making water the currency? hey, you better make sure you save up enough water, otherwise you're gonna dehydrate to death.
Yeah. No, but like let's go your route. Like maybe I give you a scenario. Like let's say you have your rent, you have to pay.
Mhm.
In what is the value of like you can bring to your landlord or like the bank that own the money? Like that's where I'm confused on that.
I'll pay it with nature.
Yeah, that's a solution, but maybe the landlord won't want to do that.
Maybe not. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the worst looking guy in the world, but yeah, I get what you mean. It's
kind of complicated, like to find like
what value can you bring in order to pay
Yes.
for this property?
yes,
If I'm coming in with nothing, there's no value that I bring, and we can't rely on a credit score because that's just a loan at the end of the day, and that goes back to fake money. It's
yeah.
you only built up a credit by using and retaining your fake money. Like
So
Go ahead.
sorry, I come back to the question like, what will happen if everybody like stop using the money, like let's say tomorrow, everybody get a message from I don't know who, and like they start thinking, oh yeah, it's stupid, like we just rely on fake money and like we stop all transaction, and like what will happen, like the system will crash.
this just in, U.S. Treasury has burned all U.S. currency.
Oh, I think
How are we
Yeah,
going to deal with
that's-
this?
that's
Yeah, how are we going to deal with this? We're gonna need to immediately like think, what do we have in the house of value?
yeah.
What do we need, and what can we give away? Because eventually we're going to need to get back. But then we could just find value.
But like, will you bring your couch like to the grocery store to buy like
Nope,
your grocery? Like,
That's- that's implausible. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't just carry that over your shoulder.
Yeah, so that's why I'm bringing back the gold and the silver. Maybe like that's useful. That's like
It's
No, you
tangible. It's tangible.
There
It
you
can be
go,
weighed.
it's-
There's
yeah.
only a limited amount available in the
Yes.
world. That's why it was such a good use for currency originally, until people started hoarding it and caused wars.
yeah,
Because it's not only shiny and pretty, but it's already has the value of like, hey, if you have 3 pounds of gold, I can give you a half acre of land. This is, for example, back in the day.
yeah.
That could not be done in this day and age because people will not value these precious metals the same way.
And also like it would be hard for the government to track all those transactions, like because gold and silver are like I give you like I don't know like 2 pounds of gold, and like it's not written everywhere. Like they cannot see the income of that. They cannot tax that.
That's why I think the government would. That's why I think any government would fight hard against not
Yes.
using a paper currency or some type of malleable currency that they control. I think it was in the 1700s or the 1800s when they first introduced paper money, initially as banknotes.
Yes.
Because this was the transfer from precious metals over to paper money to try to make things easier in transactions.
Yeah. So you would have like maybe like 2 pounds of gold in the bank, and then they will give you a note that will say like, oh, you have 2 pounds of gold in the bank, and then you can.
They would give you like
Trade that.
they would give you like sheets of paper,
Yes.
and then you would write out. These were basically like IOUs for companies. Like, hey, turn this into the bank. They're gonna pay you the money that I owe you, and then that's what became paper money. And then from there, they found different ways to diversify it, change the color, make it to where it's impossible to print, even though people still do it to this day. And what's that called again? Not forgery, money laundering.
Okay.
So money laundering, the whole thing is people print fake money, they put it into circulation, which devalues the money as a total.
Yes.
But the person who launders it, who cleans the money, in other words, gets the value of all that money without any repercussions as long as they're not caught. It's a big issue.
Yeah. And that makes me think of another thing, like what will happen to the loan?
What will happen to the loan?
Yes, like if value of money worth nothing, like let's say in 1 year, 2 years, we don't know. Like we just thought, like it's just
Well, yeah, we
like,
don't know. These are
food
all
for
theories.
thoughts. Like yeah.
Yeah, these are all
So
theories.
what would happen, like the loan, what happened to that?
Sorry, I'm not looking at you like you're stupid. I'm legitimately trying to think this through because I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
that's a scary thought. Like,
Yeah.
it's perfect time of year. It's almost Halloween. This is a scary thought. if it were to come across, I'm sure companies, businesses, higher end companies would be informed before anyone else.
Yeah.
So because if anyone's going to figure out how to make money, it's going to be the biggest of companies. It's going to be the Walmarts. It's going to be the McDonald's. It's going to be the.
But maybe they don't know because like they're only like a percentage of the population. But like, what if the 98% of the population stop thinking that money is good? Like,
If the majority thinks money's not good, what are they
Yes.
going to do to replace it?
I don't know. But like, if everybody decide, like you said, we have the notice from
Yeah, just out of nowhere, all
Yes.
the money is gone.
Yes.
Find a different way.
Yes.
If everyone were informed like that, there would be riots on the streets. There would be like, you mean I can't pay my mortgage this month because you
No, but you
decided-"
have to keep it because like money's worth nothing, so you don't owe anything. That's what I'm.
So in other words, all values of what you had, all loans and all
It's all gone. Like I
all
feel
money
like,
you owe. I think a lot of people.
you know, if the superinflation happen, I don't know. Like I'm just saying that, like out of nowhere. But like if superinflation happen, and then let's say they start giving money to everybody,
Mhm.
like you know your loan of maybe 200 for a house, like 200,000, like you get 200,000 in one day, and then you just pay back your house, and then you're good to go, and the rest is just, but it's just superinflation. So after that, it's worth nothing. But you know, it's just.
I mean, that does make an understandable like lightening of the load in the short term.
Mhm.
I do find an issue in that if the bank finds out this superinflation is happening before the customers, then that 200,000 is not going to be accepted. It's going to be like, oh no, because of inflation, your amount has been increased to 2 million.
Oh, but maybe that's why they're raising the rate right now.
Yeah, they're fully raising the rate because people are saying they're non-livable wages. Meanwhile, the housing market has gone nothing but up since 2008.
Yeah.
The
But throughout history, the real estate always gone up. Like
Yes, but
there's
not
little
as-
crash, but like you know,
but not as like drastically as it has in the past 10 to 15
Yeah.
years. It went from like a steady incline to like, oh shit, we're going way up now. We went from a 1.5 to a 15% increase. I don't understand.
no,
how
but
that
like
happened.
20 years ago, like the interest rate like was high. Like
Yes, but they had a solution for it at that time, and that's what caused the 2008 housing market crash, where
that was a good solution.
it worked out well for a lot of people until it didn't anymore. It was a similar thing to the stock market crash, where like, if we keep putting money in, our money's going to keep growing. We can't crash. There's nothing that will happen at all. This happened in the housing market where you could get a loan, and then that loan would be diversified to other sources, and you could just pull out another loan without paying that first one. Eventually, after piling up enough loans, that inflation bubble pops.
Yeah.
And now nobody has any money that they can pay anywhere because no one knows where the money went. It was a really big issue. I think I probably described it a little too simplistically, but that's basically the gist of what happened is everyone invested in the banks. The banks are like, this can't go wrong. And the banks are like, whoops, we're like $4 million in debt. We need to start collecting
Yeah.
money now. And no
Did
one
you
had
know
the money.
that fact about banks? Like for every like, let's say you put like $100 in the bank,
Mhm.
they can loan like 90% of it,
Yeah.
and so they are left with 10%, but then they make money with the 90%, and like you know, just
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like oh, it's working. Like I don't want to leave my money in the bank.
It's kind of a scam, yeah. I actually I haven't had a bank or a credit union since 2013. No,
Okay.
2016. 2016 was the last time I had a credit union. And I only rely on online banking now because
Okay.
it may be virtual money, but I can pull it out of an ATM. So
Yeah.
it's real money to me. But the numbers on the screen don't matter as much as the value you put behind it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with a lot of banks, they don't put any value behind their money. They just use it into other investments, which they hope will retain them some extra stuff.
Yeah, because they pay you like 1% interest on your money that you put, and then they will charge like 8% on their mortgage rate. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just
It gets worse and worse because on top of that, you're not assured to be able to pull out all your money. You have to
Yeah.
schedule that ahead of time. If you have, let's say you got 300 grand in your bank account. If you were to go to the bank right now and say, hey, I want to pull out all of my money and assets, they're going to panic. They're going to sweat. They're going to be like, is there a problem, sir? I mean, we can help you. It's not because they don't want to pay you your money. It's because they don't have your money.
Yeah.
Their money is somewhere else. They gotta rely on a pull from Brinks or from another armored truck to get that money over there. They gotta get security to make sure that no one's gonna rob the bank at the time. They have to pull extra insurance loans to be able to make sure they can cover that if they don't have enough at the time. The more I talk about it, the more it feels like a scam.
Yeah.
But it's the national bank. It's the national treasuries that do this.
Yeah, the Fed, yeah.
The federal bank, yes.
Federal Reserve.
Federal Reserve. No, Federal Reserve doesn't do this because that's
The
where
Federal Reserve print the money.
I thought it was the National Treasury.
No.
Federal Reserve prints the money?
Yes.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but that's what I've learned from.
I don't recall. The only time I learned about printing money was when they were making the new $100 bills with the blue line on it. This was back in 2012, 2013.
Okay.
I went to the National Treasury where they were first printing over there. And I was like, oh, so this is where they print money. And they're like, well, we got a bunch of these places all over the country. And I'm like, you do? Good to know.
So you visit the place like that?
Yeah, in Washington, D.C., they have the National Treasury, and they'll show you how they print money, where they print it, what they're not going to give you all the tidbits and secrets of like what's in it. But it's also where I learned that like on any dollar bill, if you rub your thumbnail or one of your nails across like the collars of the presidents, there's a texture that cannot be found on fake money. Yeah. They've made a way to where it can be recreated, but it's such a long process that most people don't do it because it's nearly unnoticeable.
But it's like the money from Canada. Like money from Canada, I don't know if you saw that, but it's indestructible. Like
really?
Yes, they have bills like
it's like
plastic.
Yeah,
plastic. So I think you can burn them, but like try to like
rip it,
and it doesn't work. You can put it in the washer dryer and it's all fine after it go out, and it doesn't like you can like squish it in all the
and then you just unroll it
and yeah. And also another thing interesting about Canada is they remove the pennies because it was costing more to create the pennies than they're actually worth.
Yes. We have a similar situation in here with nickels, the 5 cents mark. Pennies, they still got value because it's just copper plated tin. But the nickels, it cost 0.055 cents to make every nickel. And as you know, very small numbers increase exponentially the more that you put in. It's gotten to the point where they tried to take out the nickel, but Americans fought back against it. They tried to resize the nickel. Americans fought back against that.
Okay.
The government,
so save some nickel, maybe that's going to be worth something in the future.
It probably is worth something now. And that's another thing is generational coins. We had this big thing from like the 70s to the 90s where we would make a different coin every year. Every state would make their own type of coin, and that would be like a collections thing. Some were considered more rare than others. There are some coins you can't even find nowadays. One of the rarest things that I own is a dollar coin that has like a gold piece in the middle. I gotta find it. It's somewhere in my storage, but it's it looks like a euro. Like it looks like, but it's a US dollar coin. And I was like, that's fucking dope. Never fucking spent it. It's probably worth like a couple $100. But only way to find out is if I like research it and post it on eBay.
But like a couple of hundred like fake dollar.
Yeah, exactly. A couple hundred fake numbers that are on my screen.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, I mean, I think we talked a lot today. Maybe we could do another time.
Bring it back another time?
Yes, because time's fly by, and now I don't know how much time we are in, but...
this is the good point of having a stopwatch.
Yeah. A stopwatch?
A timer.
Yes.
Like I said on episode 1. No, I'm just I'm making fake tension.
It's gone. The way is over.
Fuck this.
And by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. And we really appreciate to read you and to...
Yes, if you find our podcast interesting, or if you have any suggestions for us to continue on, please feel free to throw a comment. Share this with your friends. If you feel like they're gonna like it, or they can find some good advice, or if they just want to talk with a couple of guys, a French Canadian and a Florida
Nice.
man, who can be better friends?
All right, so
I'm out of here.
yeah, have a good day.
I'm gonna go drink a beer.